today is the day. Hey guys, it's April from the Gumboot Garden, and today we are planting our spring seeds. And if you couldn't already tell, I am extremely excited to start this spring season. This is actually the first year that I'm planting the majority of my plants from seed, so I'm not exactly sure what the weather should be like in order to get them started. I have been looking at a variety of planting calendars for my area, and they're saying to get things going. And I've also been looking at the nighttime temperatures, which have been ranging between 8 to 12 degrees Celsius. And I would like them to be a little bit higher, especially for my tomatoes, but I think it should be all right. I unfortunately don't have grow lights or space to keep the seedlings inside, or even a greenhouse. So I have to be a bit more mindful of the weather, and I've had to wait a few extra weeks before getting my seedlings started. But we're gonna start that today. Before we get into the planting though, I wanted to show you how I decide what, where, and how much to plant. It's not a very elaborate process. I look over my planting areas, take some measurements for spacing, dream of the beautiful summer garden in full bloom, dream some more, and think up all of these grand ideas. Then I trot back into the house, pull out my paper, ruler, pencil, and design my garden plan. In all seriousness though, that is what I actually do. I have drawn my garden sketches for this year, and it is really important that I draw them to scale, and that's so I can see exactly how much will fit in each bed, because otherwise I would just try and stuff far too many plants into each drawing, and I would plant so many extra seedlings and be really disappointed when I couldn't fit them all in. It also helps me to decide where everything is going to go in my garden bed so that they're getting enough sun, they're not getting shaded out by other plants as those plants grow larger. And we have this massive gum tree outside my garden that puts a lot of shade in, so it's really important that I make a plan before I plant. All right, so that's an explanation of where and how much I decide to plant. But as far as what I decide to plant, oh boy, that is a very technical process. I wander around the garden stores looking at the available varieties of plants and seeds for hours and hours and hours. I also tend to check on YouTube to see all of my favorite YouTubers, to see what they're growing or have grown, and if there's anything that interests me that maybe I can find at the garden store, or if not, online. This year I also searched King Seeds and McGregor's online because they have a huge variety of plants that you can't find in the stores. So I did that, and then I decided to grow it all. No, that's not entirely true. I don't grow it all. I would like to, but I definitely don't have the space to do that. But I do try and grow a variety of things for us to eat, but keep my goal for the season or year in mind. So last year my goal was to grow a lot of the basics and learn exactly what makes them thrive. And this year, although I want to grow a few different unique things, my main goal is to grow a lot more quantity of those things that we eat a lot of. And that's so I can preserve that harvest and eat it throughout the year and save money on our grocery bill, because who doesn't want to do that? But that's enough of this chit chat. Let's get outside and start planting. So I have moved outside to this sunny spot in the deck to soak up a little sun and get some of this planting started. So I have everything all ready. These seedling trays are actually all from last year's seedlings that I am just reusing. Now, I just rinse them out with some plain water, but technically you are supposed to rinse them out with either a vinegar or a hydrogen peroxide solution, and that's to make sure that it kills off any of the soil-borne diseases that might be there from last year's seedlings. There are two different types of tomatoes I'm planning on planting. The first being the Roma tomatoes, which are the thicker, meatier potato, which we use for pasta sauces and paste, so I'm really excited about those. The second is the cream sausage potato. The second is the cream sausage tomato, and that's like a creamy, milky yellow color tomato, and they're also supposed to be good for sauces. So I thought that would be something cool and interesting and a little bit different to have a yellow tomato sauce, which I haven't tried before. The third thing I am going to grow, which is not a tomato, but it's a tomatillo, and that I am also growing jalapenos. So I want to be able to make salsa verde this year, and we'll do those all at the same time. One thing I should mention with the tomatillos is that I know you do need to grow at least 2 tomatillo plants in order for them to grow tomatillos on them. I'm not planning on doing a ton of tomatillos. I'm only doing 3 plants, but I'm hoping that's enough to, one, make enough for salsa verde, but also get a good pollination for those. So now most of my seeds I bought this year from the King's Seed Company. That's a popular brand. That's a popular brand here in New Zealand to get your seeds from. I went overboard. I was just searching through their website and just finding tons of different things that I wanted to grow. The other place I do grab a lot of my seeds from are McGregor's, and they have some different varieties. These Roma tomatoes, this is actually World Kitchen, it's Johnson's World Kitchen, and they have a lot of international vegetables or seeds that you can pick up. So I am planting extra seedlings than I plan to actually have in my garden, and there's a few different reasons for that. The first being that if all of the seeds don't sprout, then I can still have the proper number that I wanted to grow in my garden. And secondly, if they do all sprout, that's great, but then I can kind of pick and choose the stronger of the batch to plant into the garden or transplant. There are also limited things that you can actually get at the garden store in seedlings. So some of the things I am growing, I don't see much of or any at the store as seedlings. So I thought that if I do have extras, I can either sell those or give them away. So I did sell some Cape gooseberries in the autumn, and people were so excited to actually see the seedlings because not everyone is confident enough to start things from seed. So it's good to be able to kind of get more of them out there in the community and giving more people a chance to grow the things that they find interesting or know and love. When you're planting your seeds, you want to make sure to fill your seed trays with soil and water them in. Then let the water kind of drain out and soak up in the soil for 5 minutes or so before you plant your seeds. And your seeds are going to go twice the depth of their size. So obviously a bigger seed will need to go deeper into the soil. Then cover them with soil and water in if needed. Now that I have all the Roma tomato seeds in there, I'm just going to label it. So I've just taken part of a cardboard box and cut it into pieces, and I'm just going to label it with the name of the seeds. So I should also mention the soil that we're growing in. I have just used the garden mix that I already had a bulk load of delivered a few months back. It is quite composted and there aren't any large pieces in there, so it should be good for growing the seedlings in. If you're doing your planting, I would suggest not using a seedling starter mix, and that's because there aren't very many nutrients in that soil. What you'd want to look for is a nice potting mix. So there aren't any large pieces in there and there's quite a bit of nutrients for the plant to start to grow. Because otherwise, if you are using a seedling starter mix, you would want to start giving that some vegetable food after a couple weeks, just to make sure they're continuing to get the nutrients that they need. All right, what should we go for next? Actually, I should have started with beans. We're planting like tons of beans this year, but I'm still gonna hold off on those. Let me actually have a look at this main sheet. Hey, Rocco. This is my pup, Rock. So you might see him in videos. He's just come over to just be nosy. I also have two different types of zucchinis that I'm planting this year. This is just your typical zucchini. This one's called Black Coral F1 from King Seeds. This one here is a yellow zucchini, and this is Solar Flare Hybrid. So we're going to do half and half of these this year. Next up are the cucumbers, and I thought these were actually the regular cucumbers, but I've actually decided to just buy a couple cucumber plants because I'm only planning on having 1 or 2 regular cucumber plants this year. Because they produce so many cucumbers, I can't actually keep up, and nobody likes the pickles I make from them. So this year I'm actually trying to do a lot more of the small gherkins and make pickles out of the gherkins. So that way I don't have to cut them. And I'm hoping that the pickles will actually stay crunchier and I'll make pickles with those rather than my normal cucumbers. But with these gherkins, and they're called Pick a Bushel F1s. I'm not actually sure how many I need to grow of these. I think so. I might do 12 gherkin plants, and hopefully they don't give me like far too many. Okay, I have decided I'm going to do these extra cells. I'm going to plant 2 pumpkins, and these are small sugar pumpkins, and then hopefully I can grow some of these over in like the compost pile, and also gourds. And these are mini monster mix gourds. These are just for show. They actually won't be around for like a Halloween because we have opposite growing seasons, but in our autumn season we'll have some gourds and I'll decorate a little bit with those. So I'm just going to do 2 plants of each because I really don't have a ton of space to grow these massive plants, but in our compost pile. All right, what did I say? I was going to do 12 of these cucumbers. Fill 2 of these trays. I do want to do some lettuce and pak choi, so I'm going to do succession planting with these. So right now I'm going to do, I think I'll start with 5 lettuce plants and 6 pak choi, because I figure with the 6 that will give us a few dinners, and then we can have more ready to go soon after. So we'll do 6 there of the pak choi, and this is just white stem pak choi. And with the lettuce, I have 2 different types of lettuce. I have little gem lettuce and a drunken woman fringed head. So the drunken woman is a red lettuce, and the little gem is a green, and it will make a nice little like salad mix. So we'll do that, and that will usually last, I think it's 4 to 6 weeks before I need a new set of lettuces to do. So we'll do that, and then we'll succession plant those. Okay, and a Thai eggplant. This is Kermit F1 Thai eggplant. So I'm not sure if you guys have had the Thai eggplant before. So I believe these are like golf ball size, maybe a bit bigger, somewhere between a golf ball and a tennis ball size. And they're green with like a lighter green marking on the bottom of them. I've had these in Thailand, I think I have, in the green curry, and that's why I wanted to grow them here. It's so good to go into the green curry, and I love green curry, and I like making green curry, so we're gonna have a chance to do that myself, grow them myself, because I haven't seen them. They don't sell these in the supermarkets here, or at least not that I've seen. So this is something that I think others would enjoy too. So these are just chili poncho F1s. Again, from King's. That's where most of the seeds this year are from. I'm going to do 4 of these, or I would like 4 of these. So I'm gonna just do a 6 cell tray for that. I also have sweet banana peppers that I wanted to grow. Again, we have so many peppers in our garden, but they're so expensive and it's difficult to find a lot of them here, so I just love growing peppers. I'm going to grow 4 of these sweet banana peppers. I want 3, but I also have 3 that I was trying to grow over winter just to see how they would go. So I'm not sure if they're going to stay stunted the way they are or if they'll grow larger, but if they do, we'll use them and we'll see. So if not, we'll see how many we get. I still have some watermelons I want to plant. I have a few different flowers to plant. I have all my beans. And I'm sure there's other things, but we did get a whole bunch planted already, so that's good. We're off to a good start. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for all of the seeds I'm planting in my 6 cell trays for the moment. There are some other seeds that I'm going to be planting straight into the garden, and that would be all of my bush beans I'm planting straight into the garden. I'm also doing some of the sunflowers in the garden, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And subscribe to the Gumboot Garden to see more planting videos to come.